Hey gorgeous, welcome back to Life in Style. Today's video is going to be all about my favorite matte foundations. As you know, if you've watched any of my videos, I tend to have oily skin, especially in the T-zone. The cheeks not so much, but the T-zone is absolutely disastrous, and in the summer it is just literal oil slick because unfortunately you're sweating because it's very hot and all that unpleasant stuff. So I'm going to talk about several of my favorite foundations that I feel keep me matte the best, have the best coverage, don't look cakey, don't look too heavy. You're going to see that that's going to be a reoccurring theme as I'm talking about these foundations, is that they don't look cakey, they don't look heavy. Sometimes I think that when you have a matte foundation, it can tend to get out of control fairly quickly if you're piling too much on, or because they're meant to kind of keep your skin dry. These don't show any texture, they don't look dry on the skin or dry the skin out, which is extremely important. If you're wearing a foundation, yeah, people are going to notice that your skin is flawless in a way, but you don't want to necessarily look like you're wearing pounds of makeup. So I am going to start with a BB cream that I have here. Didn't think I was going to like this. I am not one for BB creams, and this is actually the only BB cream that I own. I tend to use this mostly in the summers because it is light and I don't want to wear anything too heavy on my face because of the heat and the sweating and all that. This is the Covergirl Clean Matte BB Cream. It is such an amazing product. I just feel that it keeps my skin matte longer during the day. Not a full coverage, not a medium coverage. It is what it is. It's a BB cream. So you're going to get this light wash of color, if you will. It will even out little spots here and there, but this is nowhere near, not even a light coverage foundation. It's a BB cream. So it's more like a tinted moisturizer. It's very nice on the skin. I do have to set this with powder, but I feel that it's a nice change if I want to wear liquid or cream than wearing my mineral powder foundation. This is a definite high recommend for me. Again, I didn't think I was going to like it because I don't do BB creams, but it is such a really great product to keep you matte longer than if you weren't wearing it. The next product I have is going to come as no surprise for those of you who watch my channel. It is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. I have been using the crap out of this foundation over the last 2 weeks. This also made it into my 2017 favorites, and I've talked about it so much on this channel. I've used it for different tutorials and stuff like that, but I have been using this foundation almost every single day. The finish that this gives you is this luminous matte. I don't know how that is, but that's exactly what it looks like. I look at my skin throughout the day. First of all, it lasts for eternity. It is a matte foundation, although I do need to set it with powder. I find that it looks matte on my skin. I don't get super oily with this though. I don't think it totes itself as a matte foundation, but I find that it keeps me matte longer. Again, I set it with powder, but it has this airbrushed quality to it. When I look at my skin, again, even hours later, we're talking about 5, 6, 7 hours, my skin looks still one shade, absolutely flawless. Everything is in place as if I had just put on this foundation. It floors me how good this foundation is. So when people are constantly talking about the Estee Lauder Double Wear, it's for the purpose that it works and it's beautiful. It is such an airbrushed finish. You look photoshopped really when you wear it, but it doesn't look cakey, doesn't look heavy, doesn't show texture. It just looks so refined, and your skin has this luminosity to it. Again, it's not an oily feeling, it's not an oily look, because you know I like my matte, like my whole skin, my whole look to be just matte across the board. But there's just luminosity to the skin that just looks so healthy. It's so hard to explain. So if you haven't tried that foundation, definitely try it. It is pricey, but it's worth every penny. The next foundation that I absolutely adore is the Hourglass Immaculate Liquid Powder Foundation. That name could not be more perfect. I have talked about this constantly on my channel because it is a fabulous foundation. Especially if you're oily all over the skin, the Hourglass Immaculate is going to be fabulous for you. I will give you a disclaimer for this one and a couple of more that I'm going to talk about after. Work in sections. Liquid powder is exactly what it is. You pump it out, comes out liquid, you put it on the skin, start blending it in, it instantly turns into a powder finish. Airbrushed and flawless, very matte, very beautiful. But again, none of these foundations that I'm talking about today are going to dry out the skin or look dry on the skin. Mattifying, I think, scares a lot of people, but all of these foundations look gorgeous. The Immaculate one by Hourglass is an expensive product, but it is worth every single penny, especially if you're oily. There are some times that I'll use this just on my forehead and then something else around the rest of my face, and then just kind of blend them together because it is such a wonderful mattifying foundation. I do still set that with just a little bit of powder, but not as much as I have to some other foundations. Elfa does this fabulous foundation, and I hate it that they never put the name of it here. It's just an oil-free foundation. A lot of people have talked about this. This is the way it looks. It's a glass bottle. It has a pump, which I can appreciate. This thing is $6. I picked this up on a whim, just thinking I would do like a full face of, and I've had this for quite some time, and I may have put the video out, I don't even remember, but just do like a full face or close to a full face of Elf products. And I said, it's $6, let me try it. Woohoo, girlfriend. Let me tell you, it performs like a $50 foundation. I am not kidding or exaggerating when I say that. It is flawless. It applies beautifully, blends out like an absolute dream, and just covers everything. It is definitely a full coverage foundation. I also set this with powder, but very lightly. There are some, again, that I don't need to set as much as others. The finish on this is just absolutely flawless, and I love the way it keeps my oils at bay as the hours progress throughout the day. It is a wonderful foundation, and like I keep saying, that $6, you just can't go wrong. That this foundation is so excellent, and it costs $6. The next foundation that I have was one that I had heard about, you know, people had tried and heard some good reviews about it. And I said, you know what, let me try it because I'm an oily girl. It's the Manuel Beauty, this is a long ass name, hold on, Filter Finish Collection Skin Perfector Foundation. There you have it. I believe Jay may have changed his packaging on this. I've had this for quite some time. This is in medium filter 3. I will say with this is a little dark for me, so I have to lighten it just a little bit. Oof, we have a jumper. The shade range on this leaves a lot to be desired, which I wouldn't have, you know, thought that, being that Jay is Latino. But the shade range on this, unless he's changed it and added more colors since when I last bought this, shade range is just not good. It's like, you know, you have light filter 1 or medium filter 2, medium filter 3. There's so many nuances to the skin. There has to be in between shades. It just can't be light, medium, dark. It doesn't work. It's been proven over and over again. That's not the way to do it. So again, I hope that he's added more shades to this, because this foundation is phenomenal. When I started using it, it quickly reminded me of the Hourglass Immaculate. This one you have to work in sections because it dries down pretty quickly. Again, it doesn't dry the skin out, doesn't show texture, doesn't feel heavy, doesn't feel cakey, but it dries down immediately. Definitely keeps you matte throughout the day. This is another one that I have to set with powder, but it is, when I want a full coverage, flawless look, this is one of the foundations that I reach for as well, because it's just so beautiful on the skin, but you don't feel like you're wearing anything. And with all of these that I'm talking about today, they just don't feel heavy. So you can go out and, you know, put it on, go out and not feel like you need to scrape your face off. And that's what I love about these, that even though they're mattifying foundations, you don't feel that heaviness on the skin that you just literally want to take a spatula and like scrape your skin off. The last two foundations I have are going to come as no surprise, because I have been talking these up forever. The first one that I have here is the Milk Makeup Blur Liquid Foundation. This is a more recent discovery of mine, probably a couple of months now. This made it into my 2017 favorites because it's like beyond. It doesn't even push the envelope. It ripped up the envelope. It put it in a shredder. It is an amazing, amazing foundation. This is the one I am wearing today. I love applying this because when you apply it, it looks luscious. I can't even describe it. And again, because I love a matte finish, I love as I'm kind of blending it out with my beauty blender, it just, like, the skin drinks it up and it just mattifies everything gorgeously. The shade I'm in is in Caramel. This tends to match me pretty nicely. It's a little warmer. So I make it work though with my skin because in the winter I am a little lighter. But once this gets on the skin, it just feels like it meshes very well with everything else, you know, covers all the imperfections. You guys know already though with foundations, I like to do one pass. I put enough, you know, around my face to make sure I get coverage, but I do not like to pile it on. I know some people will be like, oh, I'm going to go back over the whole face. I don't do that. I'll go in with concealer if I need to like spot correct. But overall, I just do one swipe or one pass through and it works absolutely beautifully. This is one that I'm going to continue to purchase as long as they continue to make it. The last one that I have is, I think for me, looking at these, my holy grail when it comes to this selection that I have in front of me. It's the Urban Decay All-Nighter Waterproof Longwear Liquid Foundation. I have had this for quite some time and used it a few times, but Andrea Mattajano, and I hope I'm not butchering her last name, constantly raves about this foundation. She has very oily skin and I think it's her entire face, not just her T-zone. So I take what she says about certain foundations to heart and I really listen to when she talks about things that mattify her skin and what works best, because if she's oily all over and I'm just more than oily in my T-zone, I'm going to trust her judgment. I'm going to trust her review. She absolutely loves this foundation. And the last several months, she's been talking a lot about it. I said, you know what, let me pick it back up. I bought it. It's just kind of sitting there. I used it a few times. Lord, it was like the heavens opened up when I put this on. I do not have to set this at all. You guys know I set all of my foundations no matter what because I like that matte finish. It is not necessary with this foundation. I put the brush in the powder and I'm looking for where I need to put it, and I put the brush away because there's nowhere to put it. This is the most mattifying foundation that I have personally tried and it is absolutely amazing. I love it. Doesn't show texture, blends out beautifully, just makes the skin look flawless, and airbrush lasts so long. When they say all-nighter, they mean it. It is absolutely a beautiful foundation. And of course the packaging, you know, you can't go wrong with that. Urban Decay always gets it right. So that's going to do it for my favorite mattifying foundations. I hope it's a video you found fun and informative. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me. If you want to see any of these foundations in a tutorial or a future get ready with me, please just leave that request down in the description bar and I'll make sure to do that for you. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also click that little bell so you will get alerted as to whenever I upload new content. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.